YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host TKK and we are back with another video. Today's video is going to be me talking about some arcade components, and listen, I am honestly and humbly asking for help because this has been an absolute nightmare. So this is one of these situations where, you feel like you know so much stuff about just a general scope of work. Let's just call it technology, because that's what this is, even though this stuff is older. And with me, building computers, I built some really nice computers and I know my way around that type of stuff with TVs, testing different things on TVs. But here I am jumping into this whole arcade collecting, and I've got right here what's called a Sega Naomi system. This system right here, this is the actual platform. You've got a power supply, and there was a couple of other components on here for audio. This was all put into one board, and then this board was set into an arcade cabinet. Now, with this right here, this is called a GD-ROM. This is essentially, like, literally this part right here is a Sega Dreamcast. So the Naomi takes cartridges, and then there is a CD variation too. Now, I don't know a ton about this, but I have been doing a lot of research. What I do know is that I was a champion on this type of hardware. This is stuff that was in the arcade. I won tournaments as a regular active player in Capcom versus SNK 1 and Capcom versus SNK 2 using this exact hardware, 6 buttons and a stick. I digress. Today, I am trying to get this thing connected. And when I say today, I don't mean literally this date, but I have been it's been so frustrating because the stuff just hasn't been working. There's no on-off switch. It's just really complex to me, right? And there's not a ton of modern content. Like when people make videos about them, they end up talking about a whole bunch of other different things instead of getting like to the point. So what I want to do is I want to get acclimated with this so that I can make some more modern content. I can make some how-to for people that might be going down this rabbit hole. So today I'm going to roll my intro and we're going to talk about the Dreamcast right after this. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel, man. I do appreciate all the support, all the likes, the comments, and all of that jazz. And I am honestly asking for help, all jokes aside, in the start of the transition of the video. If you guys watch this, and if you've got any type of insight as to what I should be looking for, please let me know. I do absolutely hate forums and threads, and I don't like going down that rabbit hole, but I'm a one-to-one type of guy. If you've got some intel, let's talk here and we'll go from there. So everything that was included with this system, minus this 600 watt EVGA power supply, I'm going to attempt to get that connected to this so that I can try to get power for this. I have yet to actually see this thing turn on and was told that it does absolutely work. What I have been loving and enjoying about the hobby is that I've honestly been doing my own research. I have been trying with my logic to just get this thing to function so that I can get connectivity. So the way that it was originally connected was using this piece of hardware. As I said, what's missing on this piece of wood is the audio. So there's like an amp, and that was wired in. This is the power supply. The one unique thing about this power supply, and I've researched that this power supply, which model is, what do they call this? It's a Sun power supply, 400-5397-01. I don't know if that's the actual model number of it, but I'll put it in the description maybe. This is the Naomi power supply from what I've seen on eBay and Google and Reddit and every other place. It doesn't have like an on-off switch. So that's the thing that's just kind of throwing me off, because there's no power on button for this. Now, the way that this was configured was pretty much the Naomi system. Like the core hardware has a USB A to B connection. So your standard printer cable, your A connection goes in there, and then your B connection goes into this board right here, right? I mean, everything was like bolted down and managed really clean. And then I know that this is a JAMA connection. So my initial idea was I get this system, I'll get this put into my big blue cabinet, make it a CVS2 system, and that's that. So there was a couple other things connected. You got this cable right here that goes from the GD-ROM, or the arcade version of the Dreamcast, to the core system. So connection from there to there, boom, those were done. You got a VGA cable, right? VGA cable, because the Naomi obviously can use VGA. Like on the side, I'm not gonna pull you around. Matter of fact, come on around here so that you can take a look. This has a standard VGA cable. that goes in like such. Boom, you know, 2 screws, bam, that's in tight. This end was actually going to this board. Bam, that's exactly how it was. And then there was also audio. So right here we have stereo left and right. These cables were going to the actual amp, which, you know, would connect to whatever speakers. And that's kind of how that went. Now, when I did get this connected to my Big Blue, which has all the wires inside of it for the JAMA, turn Big Blue on, I got no power. I wasn't seeing anything on this Naomi system that was giving me the indication that, yeah, I was getting power. So I'm like, I don't know if the power supply maybe got fried or something. I have no idea. So in the next transition, what I want to do is just show you this piece that I bought. So we'll be right back. All right. So for me, you know, before I went to order another one of these Sun Electronics power supply for this system, I'm like, I don't know if this thing is bad, good. It's foreign to me. I'm a PC guy. It's just not the same type of circuitry where you turn off, turn on. And so, you know, at this point, I've got 2 arcade cabinets, the Big Blue, and then I've got the Chulix. And when connected the JAMA to both of those systems, I got nothing that gave me an indication that it was working. So my logic was telling me, again, I didn't dive down the Reddit rabbit hole. My logic was telling me, okay, maybe I need a power source from the cabinet that's going to pass through and give this some juice and turn this on, which this would power that. Boom. Nothing, guys, nothing. So is this bad? I don't know. I seen one video where a guy made the connections that go to here out of his power supply, which I thought was really cool. I don't have the skill set for that. I'm not good at soldering. And so I didn't want to deal with that. So I did order an adapter, a cable, if you will. And it looks like they already did the work pretty much from the guy who I was just referencing. So you've got a 24-pin connection, which is going to be the same as your standard power supply PSU 24-pin connection. This is the connection that gives a motherboard and computer all the power that it needs, right? From there, you've got an 8-pin and a 6-pin connection, which that's what's on here, right? So going from this power supply here, you've got an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So my logic at this point, plug these in here. I have this going here. This power supply is a regular computer power supply. It actually plugs into a wall for power. You hit the switch just like in my Big Blue cabinet, we should have power. That's my thought, right? What this also does have is a connection. This is a 6-pin, looks to be, which I have one for the GD-ROM. So this was literally labeled as being a PSU for your Naomi and your GD-ROM. The only concerns that I'm personally feeling that I'm going to have is I think I need to have this, right? Because the USB cable that I was just selling you in 2 transitions ago, from A to B here, transmits the inputs so that the JAMA connection will, you know, work your arcade stick. So it's kind of some wizard type of stuff. This shit is really old and frustrating the hell out of me. I'm telling you, got me so frustrated. So I'm not really concerned. I am not sure how I will get power to this board because this has a 6-pin, which is the same thing here. If I'm using a 1/6 pin from this to get power from this, how do I get power from this? So what I was looking at in this cable, this is crazy, I know, guys, but follow me here. This cable was a part of this. It was kind of a rat's nest. It was clean, but what I want to do is I want to disconnect all of this and get it bolted into my Big Blue, make it clean, right? So this is like a weird 8-pin. It is not exactly the same as the CPU pin, but it looks like it could be. So I'm not really sure there. But if you power this, my thoughts are, okay, I've actually got 1/6 pin here, 1/6 pin there. So I'm thinking that I can use this instead of using this 6-pin. I can just power this into my PSU and use these 2 6-pin. Listen, I know I'm rambling and ranting, but this is crazy. So I'm trying to explain to you my logic, right? So I'm gonna power this up in just a second. I'll be right back. Man. So I'm gonna give this thing a shot, just so we can manage and see all the connections that I've got going on. Matter of fact, I can drop this down because there's no real need for me to have this yet. Okay. So I took the PSU off of this wood piece, and so as I said, this adapter, we'll call it, has, oh, and I hate that. How does this even work when it's reversed? Oh my God, this is finna be another circumstance of some shit not working. Maybe I'll have to cross this. Have to cross them. I'm a fan of my wires. Dude, I had a whole bunch of these little black pellets as I'm unscrewing this thing. Like, look at this shit. There's a whole bunch of these black pellets, right? I'm sitting here thinking like, what the fuck? This thing got some rat turd or something in it. It is just the rubber off my screwdriver. So as imagine, dude, as I'm unscrewing the power supply, I'm seeing like these black, and I'm like, what? We don't do roaches, we don't do rats. So what is going on? But it's pieces of rubber just falling off, but I digress. So got this plugged up. So 24 plus 4, 20 plus 4, 24 pin connectivity, right? Standard computer, power supply stuff. Got that guy connected in. Standard AC cable, nothing too fancy. Come and get a circle around. Everything else, like there's this serial or whatever this data cable is. Obviously, I wouldn't want it stretched like this, but this is just for the video. Come on around so you can see. Plugged here. Right, that's that. Appears to be everything needed. This guy is gonna go into the GD 6-pin. So I would need to manage this by screwing it closer because I can't get a solid connection unless I move this over, which I will for the sake of the video. So I'm gonna get that plugged in, and then when I get the monitor back up here, I'll transition right back. So okay, I definitely hear this. PSU fan is on. Oh, lights is on here. Give me this shit. Lights in there on. I'm not getting the video signal. Fuck. I don't have it turned on. Excuse my language. Get this plugged up. I'm excited. And I was able to just turn it off by hitting the switch on the PSU. Come on around here. Can I get visuals? Please. Do I have this on the VGA? So I got all kind of power going, definitely, but what's up on my visuals? Oh, you know what? It might be something with the dip switches. Let me just make sure that I'm already up something because I'm, this is a MX279 Asus monitor, 9 milliseconds of input latency. It's VGA, but no signal. So I'm gonna try to mess around with these dip switches, see if that changes anything. We'll be right back. Right, so I am extremely happy that this thing is fired up, and it sounds like a jet, man. So maybe that power supply was bad, or maybe I wasn't doing something correctly to give it power, but how would I get that started? Just by default, I have no idea. This has the configuration where I could just hit a switch and it powers on like so. Hit power, turns off. I guess because the 24 pin is active, this is that. So I mean, that cable I had to order from China, literally, and it took, you know, a couple of weeks for me to get it. So I have been really wanting to work on this project. Right now what's happening though is I'm getting no video. So I ran and I know this monitor works like 100%. I ran the video directly from the Naomi VGA to my monitor using the silver cable or the white cable I figure, okay, maybe this cable's bad, or maybe because I got it zipped, I don't know, but I went and got a brand new, like brand spanking new standard VGA cable. Played around with some of the dip switch settings. I seen some stuff that said have them all 4 down and have 1 up, and I got nothing. I turned the system off every time I switched the settings. So at this point, logic is kicking in. I'm thinking if I go VGA to this board here, which this was a part of this conglomerate, right? We go VGA from there to the VGA that's here. This is on this board. And we jam it into my Big Blue. Maybe this will somehow convert or push the video signal as well as the controls, because the USB is going to go in there and everything will show on my Big Blue. So I'm really excited to try that, because ultimately that's what I want. Like, I want to be able to just, even I was just saying, like off camera, I got to see how many Molex connectors I need for Big Blue so that I can just run a fresh power supply on it anyway. Like, that's what I want to do. And this 600 should be adequate for the screen plus this hardware. So it's going to be some off-camera stuff, but I wanted to put this out here. If any of you guys might be, you know, well-versed with the arcade equipment, you know, I've helped hundreds of players in Street Fighter 4, some of the best in the United States that you've seen in that era. I have helped countless of people in arcade days, playing, training, several people with computing things. I don't know how many people in this world can't count with TVs, but if you guys can help me out, I would appreciate any feedback. But that's all I got. I felt this would be some real content to put out there. I was really excited. And when I'm done recording, I am going to try to get this connected to my Blue. But I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you like it, leave a thumbs up. If you got something to say to help me with this, please. I'm making this for a reason, guys, for a reason. So catch you guys on the next one. Peace. God bless. Max love.